Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're at Paon Cafe again because it's so beautiful, and we're going to do a walk and talk video about are you ready to become an expat and what may delay or prevent you from becoming one. What we're going to do is I'm going to walk around a beautiful, beautiful cafe restaurant outside Pattaya on Rayong Road called Paon Cafe. So before we go in, let me just show you on a map where it is. So on the left you can see the bay, Pattaya City. On the right, top right, is the Rayong Road. Okay, you know where it is now. Okay? And just in case you're wondering, when you look around you can see what looks like almost like smoke coming from the trees and things like that. It isn't. It actually is a water spray, a very fine mist of water spray, and there are hundreds and hundreds of them all around the place, and it keeps the temperature down. Now, I've seen videos of here before, and they were either taken at night or when the place was busy, and you couldn't look round, you couldn't see the place properly on the videos. So I deliberately came this morning at 10 o'clock in the morning when I knew they opened at 8. And I knew at 10 there would be no customers. So there's just the staff and the cleaners, and there's no customers at all. So it's perfect for taking a video. I don't disturb anybody. Okay? Right, let's get on with the chat now. You know where we are. Now, one of the first points that I'd like to run through in this chat is that many of you guys are thinking of becoming an expat. And I'd like to point out some of the facts that you ought to consider, and also cover some of the reasons why I became an expat. One of the first great benefits of being an expat living in Thailand is this: financial freedom. Now, freedom generally you have in the West as a rule, although it is becoming more restricted as time goes by, especially in the UK. You know what I'm talking about. But financial freedom, particularly, you have in Thailand much more than you have in the West, because your money goes much further. When I was living in England, I had freedom. Of that there was no doubt, and I'm sure all you guys feel free in the West. But if you're wealthy, you have much more freedom in the sense of financial freedom. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, to a great degree, because you're not restricted by what you can afford to do. Now, this is the basic word, afford. Now, if you take that same amount of money that you can afford, and either it comes either as an investment or wages or pension or whatever, then transfer that amount of money to Thailand, you'll find that suddenly you have spare money. Money which you didn't have before. Money which went on the expensive cost of living in your country, and it doesn't anymore. You now have that spare money. It's disposable income now, which means that you can do more things here. And you can maybe have a day or two off if you're an online worker. Sometimes you can have a few days off. And your standard of living rises considerably because of the increased financial freedom. I mean, here you're no longer in the rat race. You have so much more financial freedom that you can take time off to go to the beach, spend a whole day at the beach, just hang around. Whereas in your own country, because of financial restrictions, you couldn't do that. You would not feel you could afford to do that. For example, in your country, if you just have a normal amount of money and you're not a wealthy guy, you're just normal, then when was the last time you went to a really nice restaurant and had a really nice meal that cost a fair amount of money in your country? You can't do that very often on a normal income in a Western country. In Thailand, you can. Because you have the extra financial freedom, you can go and have a nice meal in a nice restaurant once a week, or even more, on a normal pension or investment income, as long as it's a good pension, not just a state pension, because the prices are low here. your money goes much further. And it's not only about money that you actually feel better because, for example, in the West, I used to go to the supermarket and buy something like processed cheese or processed ham or something to make a sandwich because it was cheaper. Here, I go to Big C and buy slices of proper high quality cheddar cheese or whatever you like, and some very nice smoked ham or whatever, cooked ham. And it's very high quality food for the same price. So what happens is that you eat a much better quality of food. So your body starts to feel better because the food you're eating is a higher quality. And that's what I found. And maybe I'm the only one who's noticed that because, of course, as you know, I cook for myself, which makes a difference. If you go eating out all the time in restaurants or cafes, you won't find that. But that's one of the benefits of cooking for yourself. So obviously, financial freedom is directly related to the cost of living, and the cost of living here is very low. I mean, in many respects, you don't have certain things that you have to pay. For in England and Britain, you have taxes like the council tax and things like that. And you have lots of extra charges and taxes in different countries, which you don't have here. Also, the cost of manual labour is far lower here. If you need to have something done, something fixed in the house or the condo, it costs peanuts to get a man in and to do it. You don't need to do anything yourself. I mean, an example. I recently accidentally broke the door mirror on my car, and I had to get a brand new mirror. It was shattered, yeah, and have it painted the right colour and fitted and all wired up with the electrics so the mirror moved around as it should do. And the whole thing, including everything, like the brand new mirror, the paint, the labour, everything, done at a main Mazda dealer, was about $100. It's about 80 odd British pounds. Now, it wouldn't cost that in the West. It would cost a lot more than that, I'm sure. It would cost more than $100. Now, there's lots and lots of things like that where the costs are far, far cheaper here. Like road tax for motorbikes and cars, for example. In Thailand, it's absolute peanuts, but it's quite expensive in Europe anyway. I'm not sure about the States and Australia, but it's certainly quite expensive in England or Britain. It's not just motorbikes and cars and food. I mean, everything is cheaper here. Things like condo rental, house rental is cheaper, far cheaper than the West. Electricity is cheaper here. And water, they practically give water away, it's so cheap. The prices are so low that it gives you all this extra money, which would have gone to pay all those things had you lived in the West, and it's left over here as disposable income. So it means you don't have to say work every day. If you're working, you can have time off, and you can spend your money on other things. Even if you have pension money, a good pension, you can spend money on other things. You have much more time then to go out and meet people and to meet ladies. And you can have time for relationships. Now, in the West, they used to have a very restrictive mindset with regard to things like mixed relationships, with regard to mixed race relationships or same-sex relationships. Now that's all gone. That restriction has gone now. But there's one restriction which has not gone in the West, and that is the age gap relationship. Now, if you say, for example, have a girlfriend who is 10, 15, 20, even 30 years younger than you are, then in the West, you still get those old-fashioned restrictions from the point of view of people looking and saying, "Oh, that's not good. Oh, blah blah blah." Uh, it's the old sort of restrictions we used to have with race and gender, but that's gone. But it isn't gone with age gap. That's still here in the West. I mean, you can walk around with a lady 20 years younger than yourself who looks 20 years younger. Uh, and you can walk into a restaurant and nobody will blink an eye here. Uh, in your own country, you walk into a restaurant with a lady 20 or more years younger than yourself and sit down, and all the other ladies in the restaurant will look and start yakking to their partner. Oh, look at that. Oh, she's only with after him for his money, blah, 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 which may not at all be the case. But you will get that. It happens. People even try to sabotage relationships because they think it's wrong. It's a real bigotry in the West against age gap relationships. It still exists. It's gone on for years, but it still exists. And it's just there's no reason for it. It's totally wrong. But you don't get it here. But having said that, if you're the sort of guy who wants a lady of the similar age to yourself, then you can still have that. No problem. You just go for an older girl. You've got everything from the same age as you want to as yourself, if that's what you want, to 5 years younger, 10 years, 20 years or more younger than yourself. And no one will judge you here at all. It's just accepted, completely accepted. Let me just go on to some of the reasons why you may want to delay becoming an expat, as I did. Maybe because you have children who are not in your own country, who are not fully grown, they're still quite young. And that was my case as well. And I basically stayed working in the UK. I sort of basically hung around. Even though I was divorced, I rented a house very near my original house where the children still lived. And they came and stayed with me and everything. And I took care of them financially. And they went out often and everything. So I was with them as a proper father should be all the time. A lot of the time, anyway, let's put it that way. And spent time with them, taking them places and all the rest of it. Until they got to the age where the two of them both went to university. Now, when they were gone to university, that is when I decided to move out of England. I actually, as many of you know, went to work in Dubai for 2 years on an internet business to make some extra money before I came to Thailand. Now, I already had a business, an online business with regard to Thailand set up, so that was quite an easy step to follow. But this restriction of having children applies to many of you guys, I know. And you're probably going to do the same thing that I did and wait until they're adults at 18 and they've gone to college, university, whatever. That's probably what most of you will do. It's what I did. Now, I mean, another reason to delay becoming an expat is a financial reason. Maybe you don't have the income. You need to have financial support. You need to make money or have a very good pension. Some of you guys are waiting for your pension. I know that. You're waiting for the day when you become free. And also, I know another couple of people who waited until they had enough money to buy a house and then buy another house, and then they then have the rental from that house, which they can use as the income to come and support them in Thailand. Some people do that. It's quite a common thing. Now, some people who work online are trying to find a job where they can work remotely online for a company, who have branches in other countries, including Thailand, and they're waiting to try to find the right job and everything. And as far as actual work is concerned, You can't work here normally. It's a normal job. I mean, obviously, some people come here uh, work as bar manager and things like that. Yes, you can do that. Um, it's not a stable job. Um, you can do. You can try and open a bar and things like that, but you can't do it in your own name. That's the only thing. Gets more difficult then. Um, Now, things like if you happen to be a qualified, like and competent carpenter, joiner, electrician, you can't do any of that type of work here in Thailand. The rule is that you cannot do any job which can be done by a Thai, which includes all of that type of work. Doesn't include online work, obviously. Yeah. I mean, another reason why you may be reconsidering and wondering if you can become an expat is if you have a medical condition. For example, if you have a kidney disorder and you have to have dialysis, things like that, or you need to get regular insulin injections or something like that. Many of you are in that boat, you know, or you have a heart condition, you need to be able to go regularly to a hospital. If you have something wrong with your body, that's the thing we're talking about. But in Thailand has wonderful medical facilities. I mean, if you have problems, you won't be able to get insurance, so you're going to have money to pay for these things. You know, if you are younger, you can get insurance, but then you probably don't have the problems. You know, so we're talking about people who have existing problems. You know, you won't be able to get insurance, but the facilities here are excellent, really, really, really excellent. But what it means really is that you will have to restrict yourself if you have one of the conditions. Restrict yourself to staying or living or very near or in a large hospital, a good hospital. So that means that you're going to have to live around or near Bangkok or Pattaya or Phuket or one of the big cities which has very, very good medical facilities. And then you'd be okay, you know. You can't go living up somewhere in the middle of Isan somewhere if you have a medical condition like that, which needs regular trips to the hospital and this and that. You can't do that. You have to come and live in a big city or very close to a big city. Right, anyway, I think there's the name Paon Cafe. There you are, that's where we are. So this is where you can buy bits and pieces of coffee and things. So that is a little chat. I hope you enjoyed it. Just to help you, you know, give you some guidance. And thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like, share, ring the bell. And don't forget to have a look down below at Patreon. Just click the Patreon link down below. And thank you very much for watching, guys. And I shall see you on the next video. Okay.